Go ahead. Okay. You? Okay. All right. So when one is, so both your answers are correct. Uh, when one is financially stable, basically what it means is that uh, you can cover your expenses and have some money left over, like for savings or vacation, whatever you desire, right? So in the 21st century, everyone wants to be financially stable. You know, you want to not live from one paycheck to another, or your bills more than what you earn. So in this case, being financially stable means that you can take care of all your bills and have something to live. All right. So a major step in being financially stable is having a budget, a personal budget. And there are some key things that should be included when you're doing a budget. So my first question, and persons on Zoom can also answer. My first question is, can you give me like 3 or 4 things you think should be in your budget? Yes, food is a must. Definitely. Savings, definitely. Anybody else? Yes. Car expense, definitely. So a lot of times, so all of those are correct, but another important thing that you should try to include in your budget is for like vacation or entertainment, because you cannot be working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and going, and not take care of yourself. Well, you see, I do agree that the funds can be very tight, but uh, this is it. If it is that you save, say like 200 or 500 or $1,000, eventually it adds up. While it is, well, depending on how you invest it. So that is another key part as well. You need to invest the money. You putting it under your mattress won't work. While it is safe, well, let us not say while it is safe. I was going to say while it is safe, it's not necessarily safer. But yes. So in our budget, as a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, one of the things that is on at the top of our list should be our tithe. So we work 100,000 per month. For example, the first thing that you should take out is your tithe, which is 1/10, which leaves 90%. And persons will say, what if me work 100,000 and show $10,000 of a tithe? That could have go towards grocery or paying a bill, or I could have got enjoy myself. Well, the truth is, while all that is true, you would be surprised how far the remaining 90,000 can go because you were faithful to God, right? And it is something I have proven time and time again. Uh, Being a student of NCU and working as a student worker, when you match my earnings for the month versus my tuition for 3 months, it is not even possible. But when you are faithful to God, God has a way of blessing you in ways that you cannot imagine, right? So our tithes would be at the very top. Then of course you'd have your expenses. So we break. Okay, so definitely offering, but offering is something, it's based on what you decide to give. It's a free will offering. So while it is, for example, myself, I do not say, oh, every month I'm going to give $1,000 for offering. I don't set like an exact amount in my budget every month, because while it is, I say, okay, I'll give 1,000. Sometimes you find yourself in a position where you're able to give more, but of course you want to include that as well for your offering, not just your tithe, but the tithe definitely usually is a fixed amount. So that is there as a line item. So for the expenses, you have those that varies from month to month, like your food bill might varies because of the increase in price, or your gas to put in your car, or those may vary. So you have an estimated amount on your budget for that monthly. But then you have things like your rent, which remain constant for at least a year. So you add those. What I do is, even though 5% might work out to be a very small amount, or 2%, I try to put at least that aside for what you refer to as entertainment or vacation, and it's a must that you save. And when I say save, you don't just take out 60,000 out of your pay, put it in a bank account, and then, oh, you need to go to work and you have to go and draw that money. That is not saving. That is putting it in a bank account and then spend it as the month go along. So you calculate all your expenses. The amount that you're saving should be in a separate account that you don't necessarily have to touch. And it's only in case of like emergency that you will draw on that amount of money. All right, so a budget is very important if it is that we have the dream or the hopes of being financially stable. Any questions so far? Okay, lovely. All right, so I mentioned even though 2% or 5% might be a small amount of your pay, it's good to invest. One thing to note, or some things to note when you're investing, is that it all depends on how risky you are. Because the more risk you take, the more money you earn, in most cases. So if you put your funds in a fixed account that every month you get 2% interest on it, you're not taking any risk, it's not changing, it's not going anywhere, then that is considered low risk. So no risk at all. You don't lose the money that you put in. You probably gain $200 on it at the end of the month, or at the end of the quarter, or the end of the year, because there's little to no risk. And then you have moderate risk that when you put money in these moderate risk investment instruments, there's a possibility that your principal might decline. You could also lose it, yes, but it is moderate. When we talk about high risk now, is the returns are high, like 100%, 200%, 300%, but also the risk is high. All right, so anybody know of any, say, low? Are you familiar with any investment options available now? Anyone? Let's see. Eh? All right, so when we say investment, like, all right, so say you have a savings account. So you have a savings account that the bank give you 0.01% interest per month. You don't lose anything. Well, let us backtrack a bit. So most banks, they have service fees and all of that. So let us say you do not lose anything, but you are going to get a minimum amount of interest on your money. So that means you're not going to have 100,000 today and go to the bank tomorrow and see $20,000. You're not risking anything. it is very important that you know where you're going to get the funding from, right? And you do not want to go into business with anybody, because that can be very dangerous. And so a lot of business places don't necessarily lend startup loan, or if they do, it is at a very high interest rate. It must be that in your business plan, you can, while it is, you will not predict it accurately, but you must have an idea as to how am I going to pay a loan for $50,000 a month when I just start my business, because you don't want to take a loan that is going to run you to the ground before you even start. All right, so you must have a detailed business plan, and you must know where you're going to get the finance from. And we always share that at least have the expense for 6 months, 3 to 6 months, so you don't have to be thinking about paying the loan on the very first month. You don't have to be thinking about paying the light bill or other stuff if you're employing persons, paying persons, because the first month or the first couple of months will be very rocky, and you don't know how it's going to turn out. All right, any other questions? Okay.
All right. So what if like you want to start the business, like a business that no one else has done before, and you want the business to flourish, like you want to get your your profit from it.
Okay.
Any advice on that?
So, as I said, the business plan, but while it is you say nobody has ever done that particular business before, there is always somebody who would have done something similar. So you would need to have in your corner persons who have a understanding of how a business operates. So for example, you cannot be operating a business where, oh, you're selling stuff, but you don't know if you're making a profit. And you would need like somebody to mentor you to say, okay, all right, you buy the goods for this amount. This is the markup. You have a system that calculates, all right, how much money do I make from this good? Because the profit is very important while going to a business if you're not going to make a profit, right? So you need somebody to mentor you through, especially getting it off the ground, because that tends to be the hardest part. I am going to say ensure that you're ready to pull all-nighters or extremely long shifts, because you, in order to get the business up and running, you have to put everything that you have in it. So for persons who like to sleep like myself, you know, I have to give up sleep for some time, which is not, rest is very important, guys. But if you want for it to be successful, you have to give, and you have to be invested in it. It cannot be, oh, I'm starting a business, but then you're out going out with friends every day, or you're sleeping every day and playing games every day. It must be that you're dedicated to the cause. Any other? So if there's no question in the group, I believe he has another question.
Um, so what kind of advice you would give us? Do you think we should take a loan or we should save?
All right. So saving to start a business is next to impossible unless you have probably a rich aunt that will you some money or something. Saving to start a business, especially if it's a very expensive venture, saving won't cut it. But if you're taking a loan, it is very important that when you take the loan, you're not putting yourself in a situation where in order to make the loan payment so they don't come and take all my assets, that you have the funds, as I say, you must have some money in reserve to say, make my first and second and third loan payment until I figure out what I'm doing, how is the market, how is the business going. So a loan, it's a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing. And you don't want to invest all your time and energy into something and then only for the bank to show up and seize all your assets. So it cannot be that I'm taking a loan that is 80% of my current salary. I need to eat, I need to travel to work. Well, that is if it is that you're not earning a lot of money, because if you're earning a lot of money and 20% is something that can keep you afloat and put away for savings, then that's all good and fine. But it cannot be that I take a loan where I'm paying 80% of my salary, my current salary, to the loan, and then I'm not sure. I have to pick and choose between my rent, my electricity bill, my food. It must be that the loan is being paid from after I take care of my living expense, my food. I have enough money to cover my loan payment, put aside some savings, because taking a loan and not having the money to pay for it on a monthly basis will see debt collectors turning up at your house or your parents' house looking for you, asking where can I find so and so, and you do not want that. And as I shared before, for persons who are starting business, their interest rate tend to be higher than business that is established, and you can show where your money that you're making X amount of profit where you can cover your loan payment per month, because the bank has to say, okay, so if he's only able to pay for a year, I must make the maximum amount of money I can from him, hence the reason your interest rate is higher, to cut their losses. Okay, lovely. Any other questions before I take my seat? Okay. Okay, so thank you very much for listening and for participating. I do appreciate, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Good night again, everyone. So on behalf of the Hope-Based Seventh-day Adventist Youth Ministries, we would like to thank Miss Monique Johnson, who is a member of the Shrewsbury SDA Church and also a student of the Northern Caribbean University, for such a vital information and for taking the time out tonight to speak with us on this very important and interesting topic of finance with us. And we hope that you continue to share the knowledge with others that need it. God bless.
Good night, everyone. You may feel down and feel like God is somehow forgotten, that you are faced with circumstances you can't get through. But right now it seems that there's no way out, you're going under. But God's proven time and time again, He'll take care of you, and He'll do it again for you. He'll do it again. If you just take a look at where you are now and where you've been, hasn't He always come through for you? He'll say now and then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things that you're going through. He knows how you're hurting, and He understands just how your heart has been broken into. He's the God of the sun, the stars, and the seas, and He is your Father. And He'll calm the storm, and He'll find a way to fix it for you. And He'll do it again for you. He'll do it again. If you just take a look at where you are now and where you've been, hasn't He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again. He is still God, and He will not fail you.
Amen. He'll do it again. Thank you, Mr. Watson, for that wonderful rendition. Good night, everyone. Good evening, one and all, those who have joined us here physically and those who have joined us on Zoom and also on YouTube. I just want to, join in saying, Sister Lynch, that we have been blessed so far by the presentation on financial basics, the basic of finance. And as we continue our youth focus, our next presenter hails from the parish of Manchester, and he currently works at the Northern Caribbean University within the department called Recruitment and Engagement. And if I don't have it correct, he'll correct me when he comes on. The gentleman that I speak of has become a close friend of mine during my time at NCU, is someone I look up to and respect, as he is very active in youth ministry. The person I speak of goes by the name Daniel Linton. And tonight I crave your attention for the next few minutes as Mr. Linton, Brother Linton, it gives us some words of information regarding the opportunities that are available at Northern Caribbean University. Sir Linton, I now hand over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor Mighty. I'm not yet able to share my video, but I know that will come momentarily. Let me just say, as I'm certain you're able to hear me, let me just say good evening to everyone. It is such a privilege for me to be able to come and participate in this very special event, this very special conversation that is being taking place. I want to be certain that you are hearing me clearly, as well as I want to be certain that I'm going to be able to open my camera, and possibly, if I can, share my screen, because I really want to share some content with you. So let me just say how happy I am to be able to participate in this conversation, and not just to share with you about the university, our university, your university, but just to be able to spend some time with you in this youth session. Sessions like these are so important, and I'm so very happy and proud of Pastor Mighty, someone who I myself have come to respect greatly. And I'm certain that, praise the Lord, I'm certain that you are benefiting from the ministry of Pastor Mighty. I saw a lot of potential in Pastor Mighty, and I know that you are certainly benefiting from his ministry, the ministry of his family. And I know not just the church family, but the community and its environs are certainly benefiting from his many, many skills, his resourcefulness, and his dedication to the work. So I really want to thank you so much for allowing me. Now, I know my time is limited, so let me go right into asking a question. Now, I'm not able to see the persons who are, sitting in the pews, but I have a feeling that after I ask this question, I have a feeling of the amount of hands that will go up. So I want you to raise your hand. And I'm happy Monique spoke about finances earlier. I want you to raise your hand wherever you are. If you're online, use the virtual raise hand option. If you're in the sanctuary, then go ahead and raise your physical hand. Raise your hand for me. If you want a career you want to end up in a career where you can make money, please put your hand up. Now, Pastor Mighty, I'm not able to see the hands, but I am certain that hands are going up physically. I know that because everybody wants to do that, right? I'm absolutely certain that the hands are going up. All right, if the hands went up, and I know they did, you could place them down. That is one of the considerations that people give when they are considering a career. But what if I told you, ladies and gentlemen, young people, what if I told you that God is not just interested in what you wear, who you marry, your soul salvation, but he is also interested in the career path that you choose. God is so interested in you that he knows that through his Holy Spirit, you can become an educator, a pastor, an engineer, an entrepreneur, and you can serve him while doing all of those things. Now, I'm going to get into some specifics with you in a few moments because I'm certain that there are many persons here who have been considering what field they want to venture into. I'm certain that there are many persons who are, with us tonight who have perhaps already been in a particular career field, but it is possible that you might be considering doing something else. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people believe that choosing a career field or choosing an area is all about how much money you make. Choosing a career field is so much bigger than that. Because in choosing a career field, you are choosing a field, you are choosing an industry where you can not only make money, and everybody wants to do that, but you can make a significant difference and you can make an impact. So making money is one element, but making an impact and making a difference is another element. That is why your and my institution, an institution like Northern Caribbean University, exists. I have to tell you that NCU is owned by all of us. You are also members of the NCU family. The university belongs to you. And in a few moments, I'm going to be sharing with you, just generally speaking, what are the program offerings at the university and indeed how you can benefit from choosing one of these program items and from enrolling at NCU. So I know my time is limited, so I want to make sure that I get into those things that you will find most beneficial at this time, all right? So if you would just join me on this journey. Northern Caribbean University, your university and my university, is a place where we do a lot of building. We frequently say that there are three things that we build in our students. We build character, we build creativity, and we build competence. We build your character because we're interested in your spiritual development. We build creativity because we want you to be innovative and we want you to be competitive in whatever field you decide to go into. We want you to not just be competitive, but to be successful as a professional. And we want you to also build competence. So we want to build you professionally. So essentially, the university wants to build the whole man. Your spiritual side, your mental side, your social side, your physical side. We are not just interested in just making sure you study, read your book, pass your exam, and all of that, and then you take your degree or your certificate and you go into the working world. We know that in order to make you a rounded professional, a good professional in whatever career you choose, you need to have and display good character. You need to be creative and innovative. And not only that, you need to be competent. You need to be able to function in the working world, not just locally, but internationally as well. And so, because I know all of you know about NCU, I'm going to give you a very quick rundown about what the university is. The university was established in the year 1907, which means that we've been around a very, very, very long time. Our students come from all over the world. Any continent you can name, we may very well have a student currently from that continent. They come from all over the world. As I mentioned, the institution is owned, run, operated, and partnered with the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica, in the Cayman Islands, in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and in the Bahamas. So it is a true North Caribbean university, owned and operated by all of those territories. I want to get into what we offer you, but before that, I want to give you some important reminders. Pastor Mighty and the leadership of the Hope Bay District were deliberate in planning something like this to benefit you, because they know and we know that you have a lot of questions and you're trying to determine what career field you go into. You want to be successful. You want to be able to live comfortably. You want to be able to make a positive difference in your family, in your community, in your field. There is one word that is so important to all of that when you talk about career planning. There is a US president, his name was Abraham Lincoln, one of the first. He said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Now, I know that if I were to ask you, what does this mean? I know I'd get all correct answers. But Abraham Lincoln was trying to say that if you give him 6 hours to chop down a tree, he will use most of the time in preparation mode. He will use most of the time to prepare. Deciding on a career, deciding on a field to go into is important because it will shape your entire life. And so what you need to do is to make sure that a lot of time goes into preparation, finding out about your skills and your interests, praying, consulting with people, talking to the pastor, talking to the members of the church, talking to people in the field that you want to go into, doing some research to find out what are some of the fields that align with my interests and my skills. Where do I need to go to study this and that? So preparation is so important. And the session this evening is a part of that preparation. All right. So there are a couple of things that make Northern Caribbean University, your university, unique. Number one, I'll run through them very quickly for you. We foster a winning and innovative attitude. This means that in the world that we are living in now, in order for you to stand out as a professional, you have to be innovative, you have to be creative, and NCU fosters that. So you might very well be doing religion and theology, or you might very well be doing computer science, but at the same time, you might have a business idea. The university wants to make sure that we foster that attitude and encourage you to be innovative and creative and have an entrepreneurial spirit. Because we know that in the world that we're living in right now, there are a lot of persons who have a career, but they also have another kind of passion along with their career that they're already passionate about. And we want you to be able to pursue all of those passions, all right? So we foster that kind of attitude. We want you to come up with business ideas. We want you to be creative. We want to challenge you to be innovative. Number two, we believe that education is multidimensional. That's a big word, but that basically means that education is not just about studying and doing research and doing tests and doing exams and textbooks and notes and all of those things. We firmly believe that education must be the development of the whole person. So while you're developing mentally by doing the courses and the exams and the research and so on, we want you to develop physically as well. We want you to have a good physical development. We also want you to have good spiritual development, because at the center of all we do must be a relationship with the Lord. And so we want you to be rounded. We want to emphasize on all the aspects of development and education. We also want you to develop socially. We want you to build good relationships with the people around you, whether it be your family, whether it be your fellow classmates. All of those things are what NCU prides itself in ensuring that we develop in every single student. And then number 3, the university's graduates are everywhere in the world. Now I can make mention of a whole lot of graduates, and I'm certain there might very well be 1 or 2 online or in the physical space outside of Pastor Mighty. Our graduates are all over. They're in Africa, they're in North America, they're in Europe, they're all over the world, and they are doing extremely well. There are a number of names I can mention right now that you would readily be able to identify. I'm talking about people like Vashan Brown and Andrea Chisholm and Dadrian Gordon and Robert Miller and so many others. They are all over serving, being good professionals and doing well. Now, most persons will know that the university has a main campus in Mandeville. If you've ever been to the main campus in Mandeville, you'll know how much of a great experience it is to take in that campus. However, we also have campuses spread across the island of Jamaica. So there's one in Kingston. We have a Kingston campus that caters to persons in that region. Then we have one in St. Anne's Bay that caters to persons in the North region. And then there is another campus in Montego Bay that caters to persons in that region. So in addition to the main campus in Mandeville, where most of our students will go and reside and so on, we have extension or regional campuses to cater to the entire island. So those are the campuses. Now, there must be somebody wondering, how do I prepare myself to go into a university? How do I prepare myself to go into Northern Caribbean University? Generally speaking, and I know that this is true for the island of Jamaica, you have to be prepared by having at least 5 CSEC subjects. NCU will not ask you for CAPE subjects, but if you happen to go to 6th form and you've done CAPE subjects, they can be of benefit to you because you can be exempted from a few courses. But in order for you to matriculate, the requirements are, general requirements are, you must have at least 5 CSEC subjects. There is one subject that is compulsory across the board. Doesn't matter what program you're doing, whether it's religion or computer science or engineering or communication studies, that subject is English language. Now, there are other programs where you don't need to have a subject like math and so on. So across the board, English language is compulsory. Now, there probably might be persons who don't meet this CSEC requirement, and you may probably know somebody in your circle of influence, in your family, in your community, who they probably don't meet the CSEC requirement. They probably don't have the 5. There is another way for them to matriculate. They can matriculate through what is called the Mature Age Entry Exam. Let me tell you what it is quickly. It's a great opportunity for persons who are 25 years and older, who are already working in a particular field. They don't have the CSEC requirements, but they want to study something at NCU. What we offer them is an exam that has 3 parts: mathematics, English language, and general knowledge. And once you get at least 60% in those 3 exams, you can matriculate just as if you had CSEC subjects. Isn't that great? So there are 2 routes that you can matriculate. One, by having the subjects, and the other route is by doing the Mature Age Entry Examination. Now, that examination, as I mentioned, is for persons that are a little more mature. They are 25 years or older, and they don't immediately meet the CSEC requirement. So you don't have the subjects, but you have experience and you're mature and you want to be admitted to do a degree, then you can do that, all right? Now, our programs are wide ranging. And if I were to ask the persons watching and listening this evening, what field do you want to go into? Where do you see yourself? I know I would hear some things like, I want to go into education, or I want to be a pastor, or I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a journalist, or I want to go into agriculture. Well, I have good news for you. All of those areas are covered in programs that NCU can offer to you. All of the programs that we offer fall under 5 categories. I'm going to go through the 5 categories with you. You might very well have an interest in one program under one of these categories, but I'm going to make sure that they are all covered so that you can get a good understanding of all of the courses and the programs that the university offers. Let's begin with category number 1. It is called the College of Business and Management, CBM. Now, if you want to go into the field of business and you want to do a degree in business, you can. Business is a wide area and it is very dynamic. So you can do degrees in business administration where you can emphasize in accounting or finance, or you can do management studies where you can choose to emphasize in HR or marketing or entrepreneurship or hospitality and tourism, or you can do a complete degree in hospitality and tourism management, where you get exposure to things like resort and spa, travel and tour, and food and beverage management. All of these fall under the College of Business and Management. Now, in order for you to matriculate into the College of Business and Management, it is important that you not only have English language, but you have a numeric subject. That subject can be math, can be mathematics, or the subject can be principles of account. So if you don't have mathematics, you can still matriculate by having principles of accounts. That's number 1. Number 2, and these are just some of the career fields that you can enter having done a degree in business: accounting, entrepreneur, economist, HR manager, marketing manager, hotel manager, and so much more. Category number 2 is called the College of Humanities, Behavioral and Social Sciences. So if you are interested in how people behave, behavior patterns, if you're interested in investigating what makes persons different, why people behave the way they do, if you're interested in going into journalism and you love to be in front of the camera and you love to be able to produce something and direct a production, and you're creative and you're investigative, then you can do degrees under the College of Humanities, Behavioral and Social Sciences. And I am seeing the question, and I'm going to get to that college very shortly. I just did business. Now I'm at the second, the College of Humanities, Behavioral and Social Sciences. What can you do under this college? You can do degrees in counseling, in social work, in guidance counseling, in criminal justice, in psychology, in crime and security management, in communication studies, in English, in history, in Spanish education, music, and so much more. I'm going to single out one of these programs under the second category, the degree in communication studies, because the people in the industry, the people who are in the industry, have noted that persons who graduate from NCU's communication studies department have distinguished themselves. They are different. They're more rounded professionals, and you will see them as soon as you turn on TVJ. You'll see somebody like Anthony Lugg. As soon as you turn on CVM, as soon as you turn on Mellow FM or NCU TV or RGR, you'll hear and see a graduate from the Communication Studies Department. We have a number of persons who have an interest in that particular area. But as I mentioned, these are just some of the programs offered under the College of Humanities, Behavioral and Social Sciences. Here are some quick career options that could be available to you once you've done a degree under this college. You could be a social worker, you could be a family counselor, you could be a journalist or an air hostess or a music composer or a music executive, and so much more. All of those careers are at your disposal. Let me move on to number 3, because I know that there might very well be, I suspect that a lot of people who are watching and listening have an interest in the sciences. And I did see a question about engineering. Category number 3 offered to you from Northern Caribbean University is the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing. All of the science-based programs are offered under this college. So you can do a degree in nursing or biological sciences or biology education. You can do it in computer science or medical technology or dental hygiene or engineering, as I saw someone ask. There are a number of options available to you under the College of Natural and Applied Sciences, Allied Health and Nursing. Let me try to single out one of the programs here because I know there is a lot of interest here. NCU has the oldest nursing school in the English-speaking Caribbean, the Hyacinth Chen School of Nursing. Now, I have to tell you a secret. Every year, we get close to 1,000 applications for the nursing program, but we can only admit a small number of that. It is an in-demand program, and I know there are a lot of interest surrounding nursing. As a matter of fact, nursing applications for this year have already been closed. Even though applications are open for everything else, we generally have to close nursing applications early because we get so many applications, there is so much interest, and there are limited spaces. In order for you to do nursing, you have to ensure that you apply early. That's the first thing. Nursing applications generally open in October and they close by the end of February. So it's important to apply early. What are the subjects that you need? You need to have mathematics, you need to have English language, and you need to have either biology or human and social biology, HSB. Once you have those 3 subjects, you can have any other 2 subjects, but the Nursing Council of Jamaica recommends or stipulates that when you look on the totality of your subjects, you must not have more than 2 grade 3s, not more than 2 grade 3s. So they are encouraging persons to make sure that they get 1s and 2s if you want to do nursing. But for most of the other programs, you have to do a science subject. There are some of them like medical technology where you have to have both biology and chemistry. There are others like engineering where you have to have mathematics and physics. There are others like information technology where you have to have IT along with math and English. But generally speaking, as I mentioned at the onset, you have to have at least the 5 CSEC, and the subjects that are generally compulsory, they vary from program to program. All right, so that's category number 3. I'm gonna run on, but let me share with you some of the career fields that our students have found having done a degree under this college. They've gone on to do medicine. Now, we are not a medical school, but some of the degrees that I just showed you can offer you the opportunity to transition into med school, whether locally or abroad. All right. You can be an electrical engineer. And we have in that particular program, you are trained to understand energy and the harnessing of energy. So if you've ever seen a wind turbine, you get to understand how those things work and how they harness energy and how they can supply electricity. All right, those are some of the things that you can do having done engineering. If you love computers, you can be a web developer, you can be a programmer, a computer engineer, an animator, and so on, having done a program like computer science or IT. All right, so these are just some of the career options available to you. Category number 4, as soon as you see the word education, there is generally one career field that comes to mind, and that is teaching, going into the education sector. Now, if it is your desire to go into education, you can study at any one of the 3 levels on your screen. So if you are interested in becoming a teacher, you can become a teacher at the early childhood level, where you teach the smaller babies, or you can be trained to become a teacher at the primary level, where you teach from grade 1 to 6. Or if you prefer the high schools, you can be trained to become a teacher at a high school from grade 7 all the way to 6th form. So it is important that if you want to go into teacher education, that you decide, what level do I want to teach? Do I want to teach at early childhood? Do I want to teach at primary, or do I want to teach at secondary? I have to mention that if it is your desire to teach at the secondary level, you have to come into the university with the subject you intend to teach. All right? So if you want to teach information technology, for example, or you want to teach food and nutrition, along with the math and the English that you should come in with, you should also come in with the subject, having a pass in that subject that you would like to teach. It's very important, all right? That's if you're doing secondary teacher education, because at the secondary level, you have to specify what subject or subjects you intend to teach. So that's the College of Education and Leadership. You can be an early childhood educator, primary educator, secondary school teacher, principal, education officer. You can move on to go into lecturing at the college or university level, and so on. So out of this college, here are some of the career fields that are available to you. And then finally, but by no means least, Pastor Mighty would remind me, the school, if you notice, this is not a college, the other 4 were colleges. This is the School of Religion and Theology. This is the school where ministers of the gospel are trained. There are persons who may not necessarily want to venture into pastoral ministry. There are persons who would like to do the bachelor's in religion, but they don't necessarily want to go into pastoral ministry. Maybe they want to be religious educators, or they want to be counselors. You can do that degree. But the degree in religion and theology is most frequently sought after because it gives a concentration in pastoral ministry. In order for you to be admitted into the School of Religion and Theology, especially to do pastoral ministry, number 1, you must sense that that is your calling, that the Lord has laid it on your heart through persons in your church observing you and speaking to you, through your own impressions that the Holy Spirit has impressed upon you. But you have to have received that special call to pursue pastoral ministry. For you to be admitted, you have to be recommended, not just by your local church, but by your local conference. They must be able to recommend you to the School of Religion and Theology to say, we believe this person has received the pastoral call, and we are recommending he or she to be trained to be a pastor. All right, so it's very important that you remember that. So that's the School of Religion and Theology. In addition to the bachelor's in religion, you can do a certificate in Christian salesmanship. And so if there are persons online who are good, you're good in terms of, salesmanship in terms of religious Christian books, which is a ministry by itself, you can receive a certificate to further equip you to effectively serve as a literature evangelist. all right? So that you can effectively serve and earn for yourself by being a literature evangelist, someone who takes the gospel to others through the book ministry. So I just gave you a very, very broad and general overview of what the university can offer you. As I mentioned before, you don't need to have CAPE subjects to be admitted into NCU. You don't need to have CAPE subjects, but if you do have CAPE subjects and you do lower 6 and upper 6, you can benefit because there are courses that you can be exempt from. Very, very important. So even if you've done CAPE, you can certainly benefit from having double units of CAPE. So some persons do sociology in 6th form, or communication studies, or Caribbean studies, or the science subjects. You certainly can benefit once you give us proof that you've passed the subjects at the CAPE level. Now, if you would like to know a little more about our tuition and fees, all our tuition breakdowns are actually on our website. So if you go to ncu.edu.jm, you will be able to see a breakdown of our tuition. You will see the tuition breakdown per program. So depending on what program you want to do, you can be able to see what the tuition is. I have some good news for you, because if you are a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, you can qualify for a 10% discount in your tuition. Isn't that great? Once you prove to the finance department of the university that you are a member of the church, you can qualify for a 10% discount. Even more than that, and I want to use this opportunity to encourage, especially the members of the church, there are a number of grants that are available to students on the campus. So we offer freshman grants. So if you are able to apply early, apply before the close of the early application period, which happens to be the end of March. So if you want to be able to qualify for one of those freshman grants, and you can get up to $100,000, you have to apply before March 31. There are a number of other grants that you can qualify for, but I have to encourage the church. There are a number of young people in our churches who they are passionate, they are ambitious, they stand out. And I know that the church members are encouraging them to further their studies. We want you to know that NCU is the place for you. Even greater than that, I want to challenge our church members to make sure that as far as possible, if one doesn't already exist, we want you to put things in motion to make sure that we have an education fund, so that the young people in our church, some of who might not be able to fully support themselves tuition-wise, can be able to benefit from the funds in that education pool. So I'm encouraging the church to get on board to make sure that an education fund is established, so that those students who are ambitious and who have potential and who are spiritually grounded can benefit when they do programs at NCU. And if there is any issue with their tuition, that fund can be able to support them. There are many students all over Jamaica, all over the Caribbean, who have benefited greatly. And today they are able to give back to their churches and to serve their churches well, because they benefited from those education funds that have been established. So that's my encouragement to the church, to make sure that you establish an education fund. Let me give you a very short story before I close. There was a team from Jamaica, little university in Jamaica, on a little island called Jamaica, who competed in an international competition which included thousands of universities across the world. And that team, because they had developed an innovative spirit, they were challenged to come up with a business idea that could solve a problem in their local community, in their local town. They came up with the idea and they went to what is called the International Business Model Competition. It is a contest that encourages young people to come up with an innovative business idea that can solve a problem in the world. And who wants to guess which team, which university came out on top? This was, I believe, in the year 2018. Who wants to tell me which institution came out on top of the world? This is the team that you're looking at on your screen. They are the winners of the International Business Model Competition. And I mean that they came out on top, having competed and contested the event against a number of top universities that you might be able to mention right now. I'm talking about places like Harvard and so on. And they succeeded, and they not only represented Jamaica well, but I think they represented the university and the church well, because this is a university from a Caribbean island that triumphed over a number of other institutions across the world. And I think that's something that we all should be proud of, because I know I firmly believe that you feel a part of the university as well. You are members of our family. Now, I'm going to make sure that Pastor Mighty gets what we call our virtual contact card. It is just going to be a link that is going to be shared among you, so that if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with us, you're not too sure what career field you want to go into, we can assist you with career counseling. We can give you a career test so that you can kind of assess what your abilities and your interests are, and we can help you to determine what field you want to go into. Is it engineering? Is it teaching? Is it agriculture? Is it entrepreneurship? We can help you. Even greater than that, what we can assist you to do is we can give you one-on-one assistance with your application. So the application form is not a physical form anymore. It is a link. It is an application link. So once you go to our website, ncu.edu.jm, you will see an option that says apply now. Once you click that button that says apply now, it will take you right to the application. So there's no more, there no longer exists the hassle of you trying to find the documents and printing them or scanning them and printing them and photocopying them and sending them to NCU. No, all you have to do is complete the application form on the website, and you can scan your documents or take a clear photo of them with your phone, and you just upload them, and we will be able to see them instantly. So the application itself is so easy right now. Anybody can do it. So I'm gonna stop here. So I want to share with you our contact information. There are 2 mobile numbers that you're seeing, 876-498-9530 or 876-372-7662. Those contact numbers, if you don't, let's say you don't have any credit, you're not able to call them, you can send us a WhatsApp message or you can WhatsApp call us, and we will always be able to pick up and assist you. So if you have any other questions, we would be willing to answer your questions. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope that you now better understand what the university can offer you. I want to tell you again that you are part of the NCU family. You are a co-owner of NCU. NCU belongs to you, and we want you to make sure that you can benefit from the opportunities at NCU like so many people have done before, so we can, along with you, partner to continue to build your character, your creativity, and your competence. As I started by saying, that God is not just interested in ensuring that you marry the right person, or ensuring that you get into the kingdom. That is his ultimate desire. But while you are here, he is interested in what career paths you take. He's interested in the exams you're going to take. If you're going to go to take external exams soon, he has an interest in you. And we want to be able to continue this conversation with you to make sure that you make the right choice. We'll pray with you, we'll work with you to make sure that you do you follow your passion, so that you too can build the same character, creativity, and competence that I've been speaking about. Now, I'm going to allow Pastor Mighty, if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer at this time. So if you happen to have any questions at all, please go ahead. I'll be so happy to answer your questions, whether they might be coming from online or they might be coming from in the physical space. Any questions, anyone? I tried to be as clear as I could be, but I know that there might be a question or two, so I'll really love to hear them.
Yes, one question.
Yes, I was hearing a question, but you can go ahead.
Yes, one question. In the engineering field, I would like to know if there's any course for air condition and refrigeration.
Okay, great question. There might be elements. Remember, the engineering program that I mentioned is an entire degree. So there are 2 degrees offered in engineering. One is electrical and electronic engineering, and the other is computer systems engineering. Now, there might be courses along the degree program itself that could equip you to focus on specific machinery, to include the ones that you mentioned. But the entire course itself is a program that is called the Bachelor's in Electrical and Electronic Engineering. So I'm certain that having done that, you will be in a position to be able to not only design and probably operate, but you'll be able to do repairs to machinery, both small and large. All right. So there's not currently a short course that will equip you to do that, but there are elements of the entire degree that I'm certain you would be exposed to that would be able to equip you to be able to focus on machinery like that. All right.
Thank you.
All right, great. You're welcome. Anyone else? Let me just use a minute to emphasize that applications are still open. So once you go to our website, you can be able to commence an application at this time. If you go on our website right now, you will be able to access the online application. The early application period ends, I'll repeat it, it ends on March 31. So now is a good time. If you're considering, submitting an application, even if you're unsure of the program that you'd like to do, we can still have a conversation with you prior to the 31st. But I have to remind you that the application period, or rather the early application period, ends March 31. There are a lot of benefits that you can qualify for having applied early. You can begin to look for your housing on campus or off campus early. You can begin to benefit from employment opportunities on the campus from early. So you can benefit from those freshman early bird grants that I made mention of. So there are so many benefits and positives to you applying early. So remember, we are currently in the early application period. Once you go to the NCU website, you just click apply now, and you can be able to start your application before the last day of the early application period, okay?
Question here. Are there any opportunities to work abroad or to travel abroad to pay tuition and things like those?
Great question. Thank you for that question. Yes, there are a number of students who have signed up to what is called the Work and Travel Program. I'm sure a lot of persons here have heard about, or somebody who has done it. So that's one. The university, NCU, does not offer students contracts to go abroad to work for the Work and Travel Program in the summer. However, what the university does through our Department of Career and Employment Services is we connect students with those entities that recruit them to work abroad in the summer. So we have hundreds of our students who we have connected with those entities so that they can sign up. Many of them go up as early as the end of May, and they come back in August. And the opportunities, the employment opportunities that they get abroad, with that, with the funding that they're able to earn, they return and they are able to cover their tuition and then some. Okay, so while the university does not sign you up to go and work, we connect you with the people who can sign you up so that you can meet with them, ask your questions. You can be able to understand what the process is like, what the process is like to apply for your visa, what the process is like to seek employment over there before you go, so that when the summer comes, you can be able to do that as well. I'm glad that question was raised, because we have additionally connected with some universities abroad, especially in Canada. So there are students on campus who have done what we call, it is almost like it's an exchange program, where a university abroad sends us a student to stay at NCU for 1 or 2 semesters every year, and NCU sends students to study in Canada for 1 semester or for 2 semesters every single year. So we have those linkages. So a program like that is good because you are exposed to another culture. It is a very brief period, but you are exposed to another culture. You're exposed to another way of doing things. You get to see the world from a different vantage point. And that's the kind of training that we want our students to have. Because the campus is so diverse too, you get to rub shoulders with people from all over the world. And so we want to make sure that you have that kind of exposure. So in addition to the agencies that employ students abroad, especially in the summer months when you don't have classes, we make sure that we try to still expose our students to international cultures, other institutions and so on. So you have those kinds of experiences too. Thank you for that question. There are any other questions? You can go right ahead.
Okay. I must say thank you, Brother Doniel Linton, for the able way in which you sold that institution of NCU. And I can bet that there are persons who were well informed and who are now thinking about registering or applying to attend NCU in the coming school year, September 2022-2023. And I trust and hope that as you continue to highlight this institution, God will bless you and God will keep you. And to Sister Monique Johnson, a native of Portland, I also am thanking you for the able way in which you saw the financial status of life to our young people via Zoom and in the congregation. We'll now close off this session this evening with a song, 580, This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And when I sing it with my students at school, I said, all through the community, I'm gonna let it shine. All through my school, I'm gonna let it shine. All through Oak Bay, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So as youth, I'm hoping and praying that you let your light shine right through wherever you go, be it Oak Bay, be it Shrewsbury, Swift River, Fruitful Vale, Port Antonio, wherever you go, let your light shine. We'll now ask Brother Rennie to pray to close off.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening safely. As we're about to close off, dear Lord, please help us that whatever we hear this evening from these presentations, dear Lord, we may gain something from them and try to get a perfect education or skill and even a job, and continue to praise your name. In Son's name I pray. Amen.